Hello, my name is Hanna Hofer and I'm with the Canby Public Library, and we're here today to talk about our art display project. We have rotating art displays at the library, and in November and December our artist in residence, so to speak, was Ron Pomeroy, and Ron's paintings are somewhat different than the paintings we've had here before. Hello, Ron.
Hello.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what is so special about your artwork.
Sure. Well, what is unusual about my artwork is that I paint with beer and wine. They're actually watercolors, but I do not use water for several reasons. Beer and wine obviously taste much better than water, but they also provide a different kind of component to art, which is unusual. And depending upon the darkness of the beer or the darkness of the wine, it has a greater effect on the art itself. And there are very few people in the world that do this. I'm one of the pioneers. As far as I know, there may be 2 or 3 others. And it just brings a little bit of joy and funkiness to the whole process. And on behalf of the Canby Arts Association, I would certainly like to thank the Canby Public Library for not only showing my work, but for helping all the artists in this area have an opportunity to display things that we're proud of.
Yes, we've been doing art displays actually for the last 10 years, and we've had artists from all over Canby, Clackamas County, the Portland area, somewhere from as far as Eugene. But let me tell you a little bit more about the response we're getting about Ron's art in particular. Lots of people have been coming in and have been studying his artwork, and then they're reading a little bit about the label and what beer or wine it's painted with. And there's always big smiles coming to their faces. It's absolutely wonderful to watch, Ron.
Well, one of the things that I try and do, because this area is kind of the mecca for craft brew, and so I try and emphasize Northwest craft beers in my work, and also Northwest wineries in my work. And the 3 examples here, one of them was painted with a Bridgeport Hop Czar ale from Portland, and another one was painted with a brewery from Kennewick, Washington. So it's a way that I can kind of try and promote not only an unusual form of art, but also other aspects of our culture and our community.
And I believe your that way of painting is copyrighted?
It's trademarked.
Okay.
I have a trademark name called BeerColors and Wine Designs. My website is www.beercolors.net, and I have about 150 different pieces of art on that website that people can enjoy and they can purchase if they like.
Ron, I'm just curious to find out, when you start painting, how do you determine what beer or wine to use for a particular painting?
Pretty much what's on hand.
Do you taste it first?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. I mean, what would the fun of painting be if you couldn't enjoy the process? And of course, you need to make sure that it's compatible with the watercolors that you're using. It's a very complicated process.
Okay.
But in all seriousness, yes, I do. And I try and enjoy the beers or the wines. But primarily my purpose in painting with them is to do something different and provide a different kind of experience.
How long does it take you to complete a painting?
Depends on how large the glass of beer is.
Okay.
But I'm a fast painter, and I've painted over 1,400 images in the last 3 years.
Wow.
And I paint in what I call modern intuitive style most recently, which is pretty much having a sip of beer or wine, looking at the palette and letting myself be inspired and paint what comes through me, and it's kind of connecting my soul to the product and hoping that that results in something that's enjoyable.
I think it is very enjoyable and very fun to see. So,
well, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
How did you get started?
It was kind of a strange process. I took a watercolor class back in the mid-'80s, and I painted as a hobby now and then. There'd be years where I didn't paint whatsoever. And I had a different career before this, and as I was about ready to leave that career, they moved me into a different office which had no windows. And so I ended up decorating my office with some of my work. But the original way in which I actually started painting with beer and wine, to really address your question, was that I was lazy, and I had been painting with water. I was painting kind of a American Gothic type of painting for my parents for Christmas, and I ran out of water, and I happened to be drinking a beer at the time. And so that's how I discovered that there wasn't a huge amount of influence over the final product, because beer and wine are primarily composed of water.
Right. Well, that's a wonderful story. I mean, it's enchanting. We love it. So thank you so much for sharing the art with our community. The library considers itself to be, you know, the living room of the community, and we love having, you know, varying artists here, because otherwise our walls would be pretty bleak. So we really appreciate artists coming in and sharing their artwork as much as giving them an opportunity to show off their work.
Well,
It was fun having you, and we're looking forward to a new artist play going up the end of this month. It's going to be a group show with several artists from Westland and Oregon City. And our art is always on display during library hours. So stop by and take a look. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me into your living room.
It was wonderful having you.